On this episode of ResiWeek, we take a look at streaming gaming, the Netflix of gaming. Also, one of the co-founders of Control 4 joins the Savvy board. All that and more next on ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 244, recorded Monday, October 5th, 2020, Gaming Central.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Vanco International. Learn the technology behind the award-winning EVOIP, AV over IP system.
And by
Blackwire Designs, the go-to distributor for the CI industry with an extensive product lineup backed by unmatched sales and system support. Anytime dealers need it, even after hours or on the weekend.
This is ResiWeek, your weekly look at the residential market. My name is Tim Albright. I am neither tall nor Canadian nor handsome. So I'm not Matt Scott. He's somewhere in the world. I'm sure taking it easy. Next week, he'll also be off because it's Thanksgiving in October in Canada. I have nothing else to say other than that. Then happy Thanksgiving, Canadians. With us, I guess I'll go East Coast to West Coast. Mr. Mark Feinberg, welcome, sir.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me. Good to see everybody today.
Good to see you. And also from the Eastern Seaboard, Northeastern area is Mr. Todd Puma. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Tim. How's it going, buddy? It's good to see you.
Sir. How are you? Good to see you. Down the East Coast and in the smack dab in the middle of Georgia, Hotlanta, Mr. Ken Eagle from Atlanta. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you. Go Braves.
Go Braves. Is it still baseball?
Just a little bit.
All I know is that the Bears lost yesterday. That's all So, and last but not least, far on the left coast, West Coast, my buddy and pal and brother from another mother, Mr. Richard Fregosa. Welcome, sir.
Mellow West Coast greetings. Good to be here. Actually, we are on a family adventure. As the boss has stated, we are on a road school adventure. So my better half celebrates 50 tomorrow. So this is from, as usual, from parts undisclosed in Santa Barbara.
All right. And Mr. Fregosa just celebrated 50 back in May. So
absolutely.
Happy birthday, both of you.
Go Giants, but they're out this year. So
well, there's a lot of there's quite a few really cool people. Our buddy Bradford Ben celebrated 50 in June. So and there's a couple others. So yes, 1970 is well represented here. So let's kick this off here. Actually, the story comes from our website. Savvy Controls has added Eric Smith as a technical advisor. If Eric Smith, the name sounds familiar. Well, obviously Smith is kind of common, but the name in conjunction with control systems should sound familiar with you. Mr. Smith was the co-founder of Control 4, and he has joined the Savvy board as a technical advisor. Actually, programming note, we're going to interview Eric and a couple other folks from Savvy here in a couple of days. We'll post it probably by the end of this week or early next week. Rich, I'm going to start with you on this. As one of the folks who took residential control, and this was kind of Control 4's moniker before they got bought by Snap, was they took residential control and made it simple, right? They simplified the process. They simplified the controls and the back end and even the front end. What does this mean, the fact that one of the co-founders of Control 4 has joined Savvy, who is looking and aiming to do something similar in the commercial space?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, for Eric, it wasn't his first time around with Control 4. They had first started in the hotel industry and trying to simplify high-speed internet to the hotel industry, and that's where they got into the control industry. And I remember the initial meetings with that team. They flew us out to Salt Lake to tell us about this whole new concept that they had when they were still working with their parent company, who is now a subsidiary of another company. I don't even know if they know that they own them anymore. But they're really, really bright guys. He knows the industry, but more importantly, he knows how to maneuver within an organization and to get an organization positioned with their strengths. My feeling at this point is, it's never a bad thing to add somebody who has industry experience. And really, that's going to be the key, right? Is finding a way to get around the missteps. This is not the first time that organizations have come together. And what have we always said about standards? The great thing about standards is there's so many to pick from. So, I mean, at this point, it's a wait and see, but I think we've talked about conversions. We've talked about AV over IP. And if you had said this 5 years ago, you'd kind of look at it a little strange and say, well, good luck. There's a whole lot of people out there that are working for it. I think with Savvy at this point, it can be viable if they make the right decisions. And more importantly, they get buy-in. And that's what it comes down to. And I would assume part of the reason why he's there is to get additional buy-in and a legitimacy to the organization. So, I say thumbs up on it.
All right, Mark, same kind of question. Is Rich right, where this gives legitimacy to an organization trying to make their way and make room for themselves in the industry?
Yeah, I actually kind of find it interesting because until the release of Control 4 OS 3, Savvy was an overlay over Control 4 to use Control 4 in a commercial environment. So they were somewhat partnered. I'm not exactly sure what the relationship was behind the scenes, but Savvy was the commercial overlay over the Control 4 operating system until a year or two ago when OS 3 came out. So I'm curious if hopefully this will bring that back, because Control 4 really it's a residential product. It's not really designed nor optimized for commercial environments. So I'd love to see if he can somehow resuscitate that relationship and bring back a commercial application for Control 4.
Todd, take a look at this, at what both Savvy is trying to do, as well as what Control 4 did 10 years ago. You are primarily, wholeheartedly you primarily use Crestron control for your systems. If you were to give advice to somebody who is trying to break through the noise of the, in the residential space, the Control 4, Crestron, Savant, Elan, in the commercial, the residential space. In the commercial space, you're looking at Crestron, Extron, AMX still to some point. How would you break through in a market like that?
It's really listening to the end user. I think Control 4 did a great job on listening to the end user, and it took us a long time as Crestron dealers and Savant came to the market, and they listened more to the end user. They kind of fell on the Apple bandwagon, and the customer wants simplicity. The customer doesn't want you to live there. The customer doesn't want to continuously keep on making investments. So if you listen to what they really want, you break it down to the basics. Mark and I were just having a conversation about it. It's just keeping it down to the limited amount of products. I have a smart TV, a cable box, and a basic remote control, and to not have the integrator constantly at your home. That would be heaven for any end user. And especially during these times that we are currently in, the last thing a customer wants us to do is to get in their homes and to be there if it's not necessarily needed. So if if he listens to them and he talks more to them than us, I think that would be a great opportunity for him, and he would be extremely successful once where he was with Control 4 and bringing it to the market.
Ken, I'm going to take a little bit different angle here with you. About a year and a half ago, it'll be 2 years in January, Atlona was purchased by Panduit, right? So a larger organization. Up until then, Ilya and his brother ran things, and great innovative guys. Talk for a second about that transition, and I'm going to equate that to Mr. Smith coming into Savvy, and longtime industry leader, has got a lot of success. Panduit, longtime industry leader with multiple industries, right? They're coming in and going, here's some ways that we've done things. But I also know that there are some things that you guys have done that you've been able to show Panduit, which I find fascinating, right? So talk for a second about, having somebody who's maybe been a little bit, in business, maybe a little bit longer, has a little bit more different spread across different industries, being able to kind of show you guys, and train you, and not train you, but show you some new ways to do some things.
It's a great topic. Panduit, like you said, been around for years, a giant in the IT segment. And you look at the verticals for Atlona, the commercial verticals we play in, or I should say the business verticals, you've got government, you've got education, you've got corporate. If we're talking about commercial, where Panduit plays, they own the IT verticals in those same segments. So they're already in dealing with a lot of customers that a small company like Atlona would like to deal with. So you have somebody like Panduit who has relationships and resources, yet you have somebody like Atlona who has a lot of AV know-how. That's one thing Panduit doesn't have. They're not an AV company, so they have to learn the ins and outs of the AV business and what the control piece of that business is. And we bring that to the table while they bring in the relationships and the resources. Now, what's interesting about it, now that we're looking at, going on 2 years ago since being purchased, this is where you really start to see the strength behind the purchase, because in that first year, you're getting to know each other, you're learning, you're retooling everything in the background, your product teams are redeveloping and coming out with new processes and getting everything lined up to be more efficient and more reliable. And we're now rolling into an era where you're seeing the fruits of the last 2 years of labor starting to come out in the products that we deliver into the customers that we're building new relationships with. And I think when you look at Savvy, probably the same thing. I mean, somebody like Eric coming in, is that going to make a difference in the first 6 months? So hopefully, but I think over the long period, the influence he can bring to that, just like I've seen with Panduit and Lona, you're going to see that shift over time. And I think they're doing the right thing. I mean, commercial is the place to go for their control solution now. Residential is, I think, they're not going to have as much success there as they can in the commercial space. The challenge now is you've got a lot of big heavyweight players in that space already that Savvy's got to compete against and figure out how to get into that market. And to Todd's point, you got customers in that space. Listen to the voice of that customer, and they're not going. As Todd mentioned, a lot of those residential customers don't necessarily want to see the integrator in their home all of the time and with a new invoice every time they're out there. The same thing's true for the commercial customer. We've seen years of big brands like the Trons in there, and their business models based on, yes, we can do that. It costs this much more. There's always a little bit more. There's additional programming, additional change fee. So finding a model that works for some of those customers will be a big key for them. And I know Eric's got the background for that.
Thanks so much for watching this first segment of ResiWeek. To check out the rest of the episode for free, click on the link below or go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.